Hey everyone, it's Jeffrey Vizcaino here at Playbill.com. I'm your director of social media, and today I have internet sensation Gianmarco. All right, Gianmarco, I have to ask this question. Are you okay right now, physically? You feel good?
Yeah, for the most part.
You know what? Time out. We've got to fix this. Does this feel better?
So much better.
And I felt that you were more at home on a stool than any other chair.
Yeah, I like to engage my core at every second of the interview.
Perfect. I love that. All right. So for someone who's maybe watching at home who, I guess, lives under a rock and doesn't have social media, can't see that you are blowing up everywhere. But, I mean, obviously right now you're known for your stand-up. You're known for your audience work. Mm-hmm. But you are the quintessential theater kid. Growing up doing theater, went to college for theater. Tell me about that.
I was someone who wanted to be on Broadway from the time I was a child. I used to dance in the living room with my parents, separated, but both. And I said, we have to get our living room on a stage so people can witness this. And I loved musical theater. I was in every show every year. Definitely one of the stars of the high school theater program. Okay. College, went to not as much, but I still went to University of Miami for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater.
Of course.
Where the love was beaten out of me, hit a wall vocally, just not. I went to a non-union Phantom of the Opera ensemble audition that they didn't even need anyone per se. It was just equity required. They do this every month to keep dreams alive. And the walls are so paper thin I could hear the other non-union singers, 16 bars, nothing against non-union, but you're going, if this is how good it is here, how am I breaking through? So then I was like a serious actor, and then I wrote a play in the Fringe Festival where I talked to the audience. I was like, oh, I like this a lot, became a stand-up comedian, and only now do I feel like I have the success that I can trick people into hearing me sing a little again. So I'm back in the voice lessons.
Okay.
I'm back going, oh, why am I not a tenor? Maybe I am a tenor. No, I'm a baritone. And now I'm figuring out a way to reintegrate my love of musical theater and how do I bring it into my comedy world.
Well, let's talk about that, because you have two things going on right now. You have your stand-up, and then while you're also doing your stand-up, is Theater Adult like a separate show, or how does that all work?
Theater Adult is like a new show, and originally what happened is I just had so much crowd work where I would go, any theater kids here, and that would lead to all sorts of conversations.
Sure.
But I also have some fans who go, enough with the theater crowd, dear God. And I go, okay. Let me find a place that I can really focus on this. So Theater Adult was my concept of like opening with theater crowd work where I could have a pianist on stage.
Sure.
If I bring a pianist on stage to the Comedy Cellar, I'm going to get a lot of flack from the other comedians. But Theater Adult, I find, like the last one we did with Saturday Night Live's Alex Moffat.
Yes.
And in the opening part, I found a lawyer, and her last role was Ragtime that Audrey McDonald played. What was the role? Sarah. And she said she hadn't sung it, I think, since 2008. You're your father's son, your daddy's son. And I said, get on stage. And she sang it, and her first time in over a decade, and it was like amazing. And sometimes I can sing with them, or I'll ask people, what was the show you did that you would be canceled for now?
Sure.
I was in a production of Pacific Overtures in high school.
Yeah.
I was actually the Japanese accent coach. I was a freshman. I had to earn my keep.
Okay. Was that something you volunteered to do?
Yeah, because I had such a small part. I said, I have to make myself useful here.
Yes, no small roles, so you got to find other ways. Yes, understood.
I like to, and then I have it could be a current Broadway person, or it could be someone who went to a whole different profession, and I want to talk about their theater kid days, like with the seriousness that James Lipton would inside the actor's studio.
Yeah.
Why in third grade? How'd you get that role? How'd you prepare for the role of Sleepy in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And then get them to sing. And sometimes it's someone who's the singing's in shape. Sometimes we go, let's get back to that interview. And then at the end, I like to do a duet and theater games, and it's like a celebration of like just. Of loving theater, but with the teeth of stand-up that I do sometimes think the theater world can be a little sweet and nice and Pollyanna-ish.
What is it for you? What is it about fellow theater adults, theater kids that you just really never let go of it?
I think it's just that feeling of seeing an epic, whether it's the last one was like Audrey McDonald, like the final song, or a big a chorus line number where you are swept away and you go, I'm so transported.
Yeah.
And just being willing to sacrifice so much to achieve that.
Yeah.
I was always someone who was like, nothing offends me. I was like, nothing offends me. And then I was in a car with someone, and they were like, "Ugh, I would never date an actor. They're so annoying." And I was like, "What did you just say?" "Oh, you want to know why we're annoying? Because we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing. Why are we so dumb? Because we were in dance class while you're reading the paper."
Yeah. Well, let's talk. I was watching some of your other stand-up and some of your past ones, and you said in one, you've been to 6 different theater summer camps.
Yeah. Let me see if I can name them all. One, a day camp, Musical Theater Institute for Teens, which I went to so young that we were like, tit. I went to Cherubs at Northwestern.
Cherubs, love that.
That was one of that's a lot of people, it's big. A lot of people go to it that are still in theater. Cap 21, which used to be the musical theater branch of NYU. I did a 7-week program. I did Circle in the Square. Near here. That was like a 5 or 7 week program. Broadway Theater Project, BTP.
Yes.
That was in Florida at the time. I feel like I did another one here called Making It on Broadway. You know, these camps. You're gonna be on Broadway.
Sure.
Give me this amount of money. I promise all your dreams are gonna come true.
Yeah.
Camp. Oh God, there's 2. I did French Woods 1 year.
Okay.
But I don't really remember much of it. And then.
So no stage door.
No stage door. It's a regret for sure.
Okay.
Whatever reason it didn't. Wherever I lived, no one was talking about it.
Got it.
I don't know if I would have thrived, or I would have. It could have been tough because when I did Cap 21, I was with a lot of New York people who have done the arts.
Yeah.
And they were in Les Mis when they were 4.
Yeah.
And they were intense. They were talented, and they were already doing cocaine. And I was like, they got me in some trouble.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: you have this history of musical theater. When did stand-up kind of come into the picture for you? When did you be like, all right, let's pivot,
Yeah. I'd always liked comedy, and then I did a acting program in New York, a Meisner-based acting program, and I took like a stand-up comedy class. You met once a week, and then at the end you performed at Caroline's Comedy Club, which is now a ping pong studio.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And I was one of those people. I was like, I'm an actor / writer / stand-up comedian.
Sure.
And any comedian, luckily I didn't know any, but they would have rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a play for the Fringe Festival. It was like a meta, Annie Hall-esque, like a play about my girlfriend that starred me and my girlfriend, and it snaking in its own tail. And I would talk to the audience in between the scenes because the narrative was so hard to follow. I had to be like, okay, this is what that last scene meant. And all the positive feedback was about that talking to the audience. And I had a friend named Lindsay Elizabeth Hand, who's like a producer and an actor, and she like took me out for lunch and almost in a serious way was like, you should focus on this. This is really good. And thank God, because I was 25, 26, I'd left musical theater, I was acting, I'd done some commercials, I'd done a little bit of TV, but it's a brutal profession.
Yeah.
And I just started doing stand-up while I was doing that play. That play ultimately got like an off-Broadway run at 59 East 59. I did that for a month. And I was at this other club in Times Square that no longer exists as well called LOL Comedy Club. And it was, brutal, awful. But I got so much stage time, and I just got addicted to the feedback and being able to say whatever I wanted. And ultimately, I've been going 5-6 years as an actor with no control over my life.
Yeah.
And long stretches of not even an audition. And comedy is just like, yeah, I can perform every night. And I just got hooked on that. And just fell in love with it. Fell in love with also being able to change.
Yeah.
I get bored. I don't think I have the temperament to do the same show for a year, let alone a month.
8 times a week for what, year and a half for some of these actors?
Not my speed. I just get bored.
Yeah.
That's just my
Totally, I get that. So, I mean, because watching your stand-up, especially like on social and stuff like that, I'm so impressed with you and in general anyone who's good at crowd work. Because for me, when I used to perform, being lost in a character was fine. If I ever have to be myself on a stage, I literally was like shitting bricks. Like, I hated being myself on a stage. And so crowd work is so interesting because there's a lot of people who try it who are not great at it.
Yeah.
But like, it is so easy. It looked very easy to me. When did you realize like, oh, this is something that comes easy to me?
Crowd work was tough. I really didn't think I'd ever be good at it because I think I approached stand-up like an actor where I really had my script. And I might be flexible with going to this joke, to that joke, to this joke, but I wrote it all out. And I was so scared of what would happen just talking to someone. And then I had to host at LOL Comedy Club. And brutal audiences, they thought Rosie O'Donnell was going to be here for some reason. They should have known as they walked up the cryptic steps, she's not stopping by tonight. And they'd be loud and noisy and you couldn't just go into jokes. It almost felt corny to do it.
Yeah.
And so like I had to talk to them and originally you're just talking to them and you have like your regular jokes. Oh, you're from Australia. How long are you on vacation? 3 months. And you're like, oh, that's not a vacation. You're homeless. Like you had your things.
Yeah.
And then gradually, like, I'd be in circumstances where you just had to make up stuff, or the next comic wasn't there, and you had to joke. And eventually, I found like, okay, what do I like talking to them about? And it was divorce, and then it was theater, and that's when I started feeling comfortable. As I was like, when I talk to a theater kid, I know questions that'll inspire interesting answers.
Yeah.
And then I ultimately think I developed a fan base of theatery kids who were willing to talk. And once in a while, it can be too much.
Sure.
But for the most part, I think they understand their role in the production and are very generous with what they will talk about.
We have someone that we both know, Nick Foster, who worked with you. He works here at Playbill as one of our head of sales, but used to light design that show you were talking about. And so he told me, and tell me if this is true, at one point you submitted to work at Playbill or submitted a video that you wanted to have made. It was something about
yes.
Tell me about this.
So I booked this General Electric commercial right as commercials stopped being like a really good way to make money. They flew me to the conference and I showed up like, hi, I'm the guy. And I had all this money and I spent almost all of it on a sketch series, a sketch comedy series. I didn't know what I was doing. It was in failure by most, but I did a sketch about it was outside of 59, and it was about like an actor's inability to accept a compliment, and it ended in a very dirty orgasmic punchline. And then I said, surely Playbill would be interested in featuring this. What my stand-up became, it was like, I want to do sketches about all my unique interests. And no brand. The brand is me. And ultimately, it didn't work in sketch, but it did eventually work as a stand-up comedian. I never thought of it like that. But that's at the time. I had a web series about being an actor. It was called An Actor Unprepared. And I remember I was writing Backstage Magazine, like trying to get a feature. And I found some contact, and they wrote back. They said, hey, we'll definitely, we'll put it up bring it up the ladder. But if you have any time, I also wrote a series about being an unsuccessful actor if you want to check it out. And that's when I was like, oh, no. No, we're all doing this.
But one thing that I am probably most impressed and maybe a little perplexed about is your collection of theater-related shirts.
Thank you.
As we can see here today, and I did a deep dive in socials. I'm gonna list here just some of the shirts that I have seen across your socials. Okay, obviously, there's this Fosse shirt.
And by the way, look at this back. Look at that.
Bam!
Look at that.
And then you also have the Fosse shirt that you wear in your new YouTube special as well.
Yes.
That one is white, but the same production, obviously. Okay, so we have Fosse. I've seen 2 different production of Little Shop shirts that you have.
I think I have like 7 at this point.
A production of Gypsy.
Uh-huh.
Rosie O'Donnell TV show shirt. Falsetto's original Broadway t-shirt or whatever that was.
Yes, incredible shirt.
You have both Wicked and Wicked film shirts. Just in Time, Eliza one, Barbara Streisand, obviously Ginger Twinsies.
Yes.
One that is the Broadway Kickline sweater that you have that's really famous from Theater Circle, or 2 different productions of Singing in the Rain shirts I've seen you wearing.
Yes, I think 3 overall, but yeah.
Mary Poppins, Oh Mary, a production of Midsummer's Night Dream, Wizard of Oz, Les Mis, Phantom fan art shirt that I was...
Yes, no, it was a real production, but it's one of those, it doesn't look great, but it's like kind of good. You're like, wow, why would someone put that on a shirt?
Quite a few Fiddler on the Roof shirts.
Yes.
Again, a lot of Guys and Dolls shirts I've seen. And then, like you mentioned before, the Broadway Theater Project as well.
Broadway Theater Project. I got a Sweeney Todd. I got some Sondheims. I have one of just Sondheim. There's one from that Sondheim estate sale that I should have bid in more money. It was like 10 Sondheim shirts.
Tell me, first of all, what is it that you love about theater shirts, and where are you keeping all of these?
I mean, my girlfriend would definitely complain about the number of shirts that I have. I have this vision of like, when I retire, or one day if I'm ever big enough to do an auction, it'll be like a vintage store of all theater shirts.
Sure.
I think what I love about it is there's some really cool art, and I don't know, everyone that has a local production, a lot of these are like local production shows.
And how do you find those?
My sister helps me sometimes on Etsy. She'll look.
Sure.
But like the Rosie O'Donnell one, I go to vintage stores, and what's incredible is whatever city you're in, and it's not even a major city, but they had some regional production 8 years ago, and somehow that shirt wound up at the vintage store. And so it's usually like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of like Lion Kings and a lot of the Les Mis Girl, but you see this. You go and you go, oh my God, that's such a random production, and it's from it's got the vintage feel. It's from the 90s, and what I think is a shame right now, that I do think is a reflection of like the stunt casting of Broadway. There's not a lot of great current merch, because I think more and more shows are about the star and not the show itself. So the art is usually maybe the person or just their name, and it doesn't have as much character as this was our take on the Into the Woods story. So I do feel like merch has been hurt secondarily by stunt casting.
But I feel like you do like a good star on your shirt. I mean, we talk about, I saw Jonathan Groff.
That's a good one. It's a good one. That definitely was a good one. And I'm not saying it doesn't always work, but like, it's like I was gonna, when I went to Gypsy with Audra McDonald, it was like Audra McDonald in Gypsy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just text. If it was a picture of Audra, I'd be more down for that.
Well, that being said, we felt like you could not leave Playbill without us adding to the collection. So we have 2 options here for you. We have the standard Playbill one, which we'll try this on to see if it fits. And then we do know you're not scared of a little gay pride.
Of course not.
This one's a small, so I don't know if it's actually, but you're not scared of a crop top. So this
I'm not scared of a crop top.
But I thought you love, as you say.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful shirt.
Yeah, so, I mean.
It's small?
Yeah, that's listed as a small, but if that works for you, by all means, June is a full month that you can wear that around. But as we're signing off here, Gianmarco, tell everyone, where do you want to be found? Where can people find you, or where do you want to be found?
Gosh, I mean, I tour around the country, I tour around the world, but find me online, everywhere at Gianmarco Soresi. Check out those theater adult shows online.
Your website?
My website, gianmarcosoresi.com. I have a podcast called The Downside, where we do have a lot of theater folks on. And be on the lookout for my one day when I pull the trigger and do a one-man version of falsettos, every part sung by me. One Jew in a room bitching. That's what I'll call it. That's a great idea. One Jew in a room bitching. A one-man version of falsettos. Oh my God.
There. Look at that.
I love it.
Also, make sure to see him on YouTube. His special Thief of Joy you can watch right now
Thank you.
is available. Gianmarco, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.